Welcome to my home, people.
Thank you.
Who would have thought I would have Dexter Wansel in my living room? Dexter Wansel is in my living room. Do you see that, people? I'm besides myself. Okay. La'Trese, lovely to meet you. We have to start with ladies first.
Thank you. It's awesome to meet you as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for getting your hair done specially to talk to me.
You are very welcome.
And your Royal Highness, Dexter, he already knows how I feel about Dexter Wansel. Okay, he knows, so we don't have to go into that too much. How are you both?
I am well.
I'm doing well. I'm blessed.
Is that a dog I can hear in the background?
Yes, I apologize.
I have a husky sleeping right over here.
I have nice. Their brothers, so someone's apparently at the door.
How has everything been treating you guys in the US? Because I know, are you in Philly, Dexter?
I'm about 60 miles outside of Philadelphia in a place in Pennsylvania called Elverson.
Right.
Yeah,
and I heard you say that you've got heavy snow out there.
Yeah, we got a lot of heavy snow.
Right. And you, La'Trese, where are you?
I'm in Philadelphia as well.
Okay.
I'm at the airport. So yes, and the snow it really came down yesterday.
Wow. That's it. The extremes of weather over there are just brutal.
No, it's all over the place. But what's going to come from day to day? It will feel like summertime, and then the next day it's, snow.
Yeah. So tell me the effects of COVID on you guys. How have you been with that? We can't avoid it. It's all over the world. We can't avoid it. It's part of what's going on. How have you been with it?
Oh, me or Dexter?
Take your choice. Whichever one of you wants to speak.
Ladies first.
Okay. Honestly, it's been crazy. It's been a lot of explaining, and because I have 2 children, so explaining to them what's going on, but also hearing what they have to say about what's been going on in the world, just in general. But honestly, I haven't had a problem with the being in the house as much, because I really feel like we've grown closer as a family. We're already a close knit. So I guess it's different if you don't like your family, then you know.
Yeah.
I really just feel blessed because I feel like we're getting so close. We're so much closer. And I'm kind of loving that. But this whole thing is crazy because I feel bad for the kids because they're at home and they got to go to school at home. And there is definitely they're dealing with it. And I'm proud of the strength that I see in my kids. But at the same time, sometimes I do see that they really just miss school and normal life and what was normal.
It does kind of, in one way, it brings the family closer because you're together all the time. But in other ways, it separates you from people. And the very term social distance, I feel uncomfortable with.
Exactly.
I don't mind spatial distance. I change it to spatial. But social, I don't like that term because it really is about dividing people. So I'm not comfortable with that. What about yourself, Dexter?
Well, we've been going through it here also and trying to be careful. We've been staying locked down out where we live, and we've also been trying to make sure that all of our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren are safe and doing what's necessary to not get the COVID-19. In a way, this pandemic has divided the country, because some people don't believe in it and don't want to have to wear a mask or social distance. which unfortunately causes the spread, and it's still spreading here in the United States. We set all new records yesterday for hospitalizations and number of people getting infected and deaths, in one day, And what's
I think the numbers are the highest in the world in the US, right?
Oh, listen, California had over 57,000 new cases yesterday alone.
Wow.
That's more than some other countries,
Absolutely.
And what's unfortunate here is that divide, with the pandemic, that some people don't believe in it, want the freedom of not having to wear a mask or social distance and all of that. And unfortunately, that's going to continue to spread until enough of us get the vaccine, hopefully by the summer, to stop the spread, But before then, so many of us are going to continue to die,
Yeah. Have to be really on point with the taking care. And I have to thank you for the lovely messages you send all the time of reassurance and asking us to stay safe and, staying connected to your British supporters, because believe me, your British supporters are huge. So thank you for the lovely messages you've been sending us to stay safe, and it's really appreciated.
Well, thank you, Barry. And yes, the UK is still going through it too,
Yeah. Well, London, as we speak, has gone into lockdown again. Yeah. So London, we're in lockdown.
No.
That's it. Yeah. But here I am smiling and talking to two legends. So I'm happy. And if anything good to come out of this is that I can get you guys in my house. Because without COVID, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be on the phone, which isn't quite the same as having the visuals. So out of evil cometh good.
Yeah. We're living in our reality, and it definitely has changed everything in the world.
Oh, look, there's a tail going across there. You see the husky tail? So how did you two come together to collaborate? How did that happen?
Well, actually, many years ago, I had started working with her father. Her father is a world-renowned music director and bass player named Tony Jones. And I had started working with him. And believe it or not, we actually came to the UK a decade and a half ago, something like that. And we toured with Gene Carn and Billy Paul. And Tony was the bass player and co-music director of our shows over there. And then he introduced me to his daughter. And actually, he bought some photos over to my house one time when he had me working with one of his artists. And I said, well, I got to hear her sing one day. And then finally, we got together once again to work on some shows here in the US that I was doing. And I asked him, I said, well, where's your daughter? Is she singing? And if so, maybe she'll sing some of the songs in my show. And so we did some rehearsals, and I heard her sing, and I just had to come up with a song that suited her voice. And I think the Christmas song is the one I came up with for her,
I have to interrupt you there, because just you telling the story, she has got the biggest smile on her face. Just you telling the story of how it all transpired and came into fruition, she's got the biggest smile on her face. So it's obviously a pleasurable and wonderful collaboration.
Yes, absolutely. Dexter is a joy to work with. He's one of the most genuine people that I've ever met. And that makes just having a relationship and a friendship with him. I'm a very genuine person, and I read people quickly. And from the moment I met Dexter, he was the nicest person from the very first moment I've ever met him, and just an awesome person. And so it was great when he asked me, of course, because and when I realized, and I'm like, oh wow, he wants to work with me. Like it was,
exactly.
to have him ask was like, absolutely. Whatever. What do you want?
Because he knows he is music royalty, okay? He knows he's music royalty, so come on.
But you're such a humble person.
I can
So,
see those discs behind there. Okay, so they mean something.
but he's just he really is. He's just a very humble person. So to have that and to have someone that's just so musically off, I don't even know how to put it into words. Musically, he's just in such a space. He's never been in a box. He's always done his own thing, his own way. So to have someone like that has such a vast knowledge of music want to bring you into that.
Well, this is it, because onto you, Dexter. I mean, your repertoire is so vast. It is just so immense, from conductor to arranger to director to composer. It just doesn't stop. The list is endless. Arranger, it's just endless.
Well, thank you. Oh, by the way, I forgot to send you that full song list because it was like over 100 pages long, and I didn't know how to fit it in. One day I'll get it to you. Yeah, well, it's
that
just
song list.
Yeah, for me, you know, I've been around music since I can remember. You know, when I was a child, I started at 8 years old backstage at the Uptown Theater in Philly, which was like the Apollo in New York, you know. And I worked for all the recording artists that came through and got their little sandwiches and grabbed their clothes and gave them towels and all that kind of stuff, you know, doing performances. And I just wanted to be a part of it. And so that's really my foundation.
But I mean, just being in the environment, you were obviously like a sponge, just absorbing all that was going on around you, even though you were getting the sandwiches and mopping their brow with a towel. You were like, yeah, but I just saw you play that, and I need to know how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, backstage at the Uptown Theater, the musical director back in the late 50s when I first started was a guy named Doc Bagby. He was an organ player, and he actually started showing me chords. Him and another organ player named Dave Babe Cortez would come in and show me chords. They'd pull me like in between shows. I'd go back and, you know, and sit with them, and he would show me chords and basic melodies and stuff on the organ. And the organ was kind of like complicated to me because there was a lot of stuff going on with the organ, things you had to move and foot pedals and, you know, to make the bass sounds work and everything. So I kind of didn't like the organ, but I loved learning music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so some of the other instrumentalists, some of the guitar players would show me stuff. You know, once Jimi Hendrix, I said, can you show, he was playing with the Isley Brothers, and I was saying to him, Jimmy, can you show me how to play that guitar? And then he would put it on, but he would put it on opposite, you know. It was like, wait a minute, I can't play. I need my right hand over. Yeah. You know, so, but, you know, and then there were other influences I had back then, you know, of musicians that came through. Like one of the greatest bands that I saw was the band that was backing up all of the King Records artist tours. You know, King Records had all of these great artists. The most famous artist on the King Records tour before he left, of course, was James Brown, you know. And that band, I still listen to that band, man, and I'd go to breakfast with them. That's right. They were really good. And
the foundation is just immense. Your foundation is just so immense.
There was another guy, his name was Dave Bartholomew. And he's really unsung, and he used to show me a lot of stuff on the keyboards too. And that's when I was like 11 and 12. And he was the guy that him and his band were was the band that backed Little Richard on all his hits. And also, what's the guy that did I Found My Thrill on Blueberry Hill?
Chuck Berry.
No, not Chuck Berry. It was another Fats Domino.
Fats Domino.
Yeah, Dave Bartholomew did all of Fats Domino stuff. So when they came through the Uptown, you know, I got to see that band. And that was like one of my most favorite bands, you know, because they could really rock it.
I'm telling you, they definitely did. And you, La'Trese, well, obviously you were immersed in music because of your father, right?
Yes, I was. I've been around music all of my life. I've been singing all of my life. Since before I could talk, I was singing, like most vocalists say. But literally, I've always been around music. I've always been around musical people. The good thing was I feel like I was open to so many styles of music. So I never wanted to be in a box. And I always wanted to be able to authentically do whatever it was that I was doing. So if I was doing jazz, I wanted to be able to do it and authentically. I didn't want to sound like an R&B singer kind of snoozing over. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted to be whatever it was. I wanted to be in it. And I engulfed myself in music, all types of music. So I think
that's what makes the repertoire broad as well. You're not just, as you say, in a box in one area. I just like soul, or you like music. You like good music, and good music comes in any genre,
There's nothing like music. Yeah. It's music, and it's so much, and it should make you feel something. And you don't want to just have one kind of sound or one kind of thing. You don't always feel one type of way. So
and music is about feeling and emotion. So you show what you're feeling at the time. It's often the foundation of a lot of songs. How they're feeling, what they're going through, relationship breakups, being broke, being whatever. It's often the foundation of many a song, the lyrics. So, but back to the God himself. Now, when did your journey at Philadelphia start? Philadelphia International.
Well, right after I got out of the Army, me and Stanley were doing some stuff together, but it really never jumped off. So I used to go down to Sigma Sound Studios and sit and wait for somebody to audition me or use me on the keyboards for a session. And then one day, one of the engineers asked me if I knew anything about a Putney synthesizer, and I said I did, but I didn't really. But
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Got me up to the studio. I actually took the pegs and turned the knobs and got a couple of sounds. And next thing I knew, they were calling me back for $50 a session to program their Putney synthesizer. And that really kind of opened the door, because that's how I met Carl and Roland Chambers, who were members of MFSB at the time. And they had a little group they wanted me to be a part of called Yellow Sunshine. And that was in 1972. So I joined Yellow Sunshine, and we released an album in 72 or early 73 called Yellow Sunshine, and that's really how I started writing songs at Philly International, in and out. Sometimes I was there, sometimes I'd go on the road with Bunny Sigler. And the band that was working with him at the time was the early Instant Funk, and I became their first keyboard player.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I went
Instant Funk, weren't they signed to Salsoul at one time?
That was long after that.
So they were originally on Philly.
Yeah, they were originally on Philly. Yeah. The Philly Jump. I arranged that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I arranged that for them. And a couple of other things, I'm trying to remember.
I've just passed out. You see, the people that are watching, you need to understand what Philadelphia International label means to me. I have that running through my veins from the earliest time I can remember. Everything on the Philadelphia label. So you have to understand what this means to me, having this man in my living room telling me the Philadelphia story. Okay. Deep breath. Continue.
So I joined Yellow Sunshine, and then I started getting little sessions, and then Bobby Martin asked me to start playing keyboards live with him and MFSB when they did shows. So I started doing that. Then when he left and I had signed with PIR, actually before I signed with PIR, me and a fellow named T Life had a little company called Mills and Mills. And out of Mills and Mills, we did Evelyn Champagne King. We did her Shame album, and so right after
this is why we need to have these stories told and recorded, because this is more than just an interview. It's archiving what happened. And a lot of these things slip past people that are even great music enthusiasts. They don't know these little intricate details, you know? So it's so important to have these stories told.
Yeah. So, you know, I got to work with, once I signed with PIR, I literally got to work as a producer and arranger and a composer. And I would write arrangements for all the other producers there, you know, because what happened was Bobby Martin finally left and started his own production career, you know, like he did Let's Just Kiss and Say Goodbye on the Manhattans after he left PIR. He did something, Back in Love Again on, what was that group's name? You know, I can't think of their name. But who was it?
It was Jeffrey Osborne. What was the name of the group though?
Yeah, exactly. So I was really, it was really an honor to work with so many wonderful vocalists and musicians like La'Trese has worked with some amazing vocalists, you know, and musicians. And so for me, it was being back at the Uptown.
Yeah, nice. So La'Trese, when did your professional music career start? Because I know you said you were singing from a child and, you know, surrounded by music, but, you know, your professional singing career, when did that start?
I would say, well, when I started getting paid.
Well, I was going to say, because the professional job is always when you start getting paid for what you're doing.
I had my first gig at 11. I sang backgrounds. I was 11, yeah. I sang backgrounds for Gene Khan, and that was the first one that I did. And then it just all from there. Like 14, I was doing my own thing. So, yeah.
You did BVs for Gene Khan at 11.
Yes, and it was such a crazy situation. She was doing a gig.
It sounds it.
It was. With my dad, I just was coming. I wasn't even, you know, I was just coming to the show to see my dad perform with her. And I knew her, I had met her, but you know, so it's different when you come up in that. You don't look at them like everybody else.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm, you know, and they're like, she's like, oh, well, one of the girls didn't show up, or something that happened, or somebody that was supposed to sing didn't come. And then she said, what, you sing, right, baby? And I was like, yeah. She said, you sing these backgrounds, sing this song. And that's literally how it happened. And I was standing in the back because I wasn't even supposed to be it. I was standing in the back at the, I think it was at the Clef Club singing for Gene. And I was just like, okay, this is like, and you just do it. It just was like, okay, like I can learn that. What's that? Okay. And I sang it with the other people. And
I guess you knew the record. You knew the record and
I knew yes, because when I listened to all types of music, like I came up listening to everything. So I used to steal my grandmom's records and be in my room listening to the Isley Brothers. And she's like, why you got my record? You know? So, you know, when you come up like that, you listen to everything. And then you have people and you don't even know who the conductors of things are because you only know the artist. And that was something I learned later when I met Dexter for the first time. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. You mean you wrote the song? Like this is your song. Like
yeah, you actually wrote it.
Yeah, it was like that. It was hilarious because I didn't understand that at that time because I was so young. And I did a show and he said, thank you for singing my song. You really did a good job. I really like the way you sang it. And I said, I'm thinking, you know how people talk to you at a show and they're like, thank you. That was my song like that. That's how I took it.
Yeah. Like a song I like, not a song I wrote.
Enjoyed it. And my dad said, no, honey, that's Dexter Wansel. Like it's his song. And I was like, oh, thank you. Like I felt, but he never made me feel uncomfortable. I was young, but he just was always like, oh no, it's okay. But I just wanted you.
And here you are a few years later.
Oh, well, yeah. A lot.
Just go with it. A few years later. Just go with it. Mr. Wansel. So all of those songs you wrote at Philadelphia with all of those artists, I'm trying to comprehend what it must have been like being in that environment, because okay, there are lots of record labels, of which Motown, I guess, would be one of them, that's up there with quite a few artists. But when you think of the people that were under the umbrella of Philadelphia International, Phyllis Hyman, Patti LaBelle, Jean Carn, the Jones Girls, oh my God, the Jones Girls, and you know, the list was just endless. It was just such a stable of talent.
Yes, it was. And I was just honored to be able to work with everyone, you know, no matter what I was doing, whether it was, in-house producing or arranging or, you know, composing or even performance, you know, like me and Phyllis Hyman, I used to open shows for her, you know. Before she even signed with Philly International. So when she signed, we already had a history, you know, of working together. So, and I miss my friend, you know, she really went through it towards the end. And, but anyway, so, and that last album, that last Phyllis Hyman album, Forever With You, you know, PIR and CBS had a major conflict. So I had to go into the studio and take her voice of about 8 master productions that had already been done, but they couldn't use, and reproduce all the music around just her voice. And this was after she passed. And it was like she was in the studio with me. And it took me a long time to get through that, to get over that process. Once I got the album done, it took me like 6 months to stop thinking about it and thinking about her, because I know people aren't going to believe this, but I really feel she was there with me.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had that relationship with her as well beforehand. So, you know, how you would feel about it is really very emotional, because you were emotionally attached as friends, you know, and that closeness as colleagues, work colleagues, because you were writing together, creating together, that in itself is quite a special bond.
Yeah. And it was always wonderful working with her, you know. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, indeed. Let's move on. So from Phyllis to the Jones Girls, you worked with them as well.
Oh, yeah, I did. I worked on just about all of their albums at PIR, and they really helped me a lot, Barry. What most people don't realize is that, you know, after the sweeties or the sweethearts of Sigma, Carly, Yvette, and Barbara, they kind of left doing background for all of the producers and went on the road with Patti LaBelle. So the Jones Girls kind of stepped in. And I would say to them, listen, can y'all help me with this project? I need some background, you know, would y'all do it for me? Or I need y'all to step up and sing. I got this song that, you know, I really need y'all to do on my album or on Lou Rawls' album or on Billy's album, you know, and they would help me, you know, big time. And they were wonderful to work with. I still talk with Shirley, you know, to this day. I talked to her the other day, as a matter of fact. And of course, Valerie and Brenda passed on, you know.
Yeah.
I was actually helping Brenda with a project she was doing in the UK 2 months before she passed away. You know, she sent me a track to put strings on, which I did, you know, and then a couple of months later, she was gone. Yeah. But she was working on a deal over there, you know, to kind of reinvigorate her career, you know.
But Shirley, she just finished a series called Unsung.
Yeah. They just did a series of Unsung, and they had me and invited me to talk about it. So, you know, which I did.
Like yourself, when you came and I met you in the UK, when she was here, I interviewed her, and she was telling the whole great story of the Jones Girls, and, you know, how they started at Philly, and that, you know, Diana Ross was a great help to them. She had them as their backing vocalists, and she said that, you know, she let us go on stage in her interval to fill up the interval, and that's when they became a big hit. So, you know, the great energy is passed down with that kindness of, you know what, giving somebody a break, because everybody needs help. So, it was beautiful to hear her tell this story. And she's, as you know, continuing the Jones Girls legacy in the best way she can, you know?
Yes, she is.
But it's great to see those performers still going, the Gene Carnes and etc. You know, because all of them, you listen to them and they are vocal masterclasses. For sure.
Jean is an amazing vocalist, you know. She, when she first signed with Philly International, she didn't have a backup band. So we, me, her, and what's his name? Billy. Billy went on the road, you know, like I was telling you. And she was actually used my band that I had, you know, to do her stuff. You know, it worked out, you know, it worked out.
It did. It worked out very well, it seems.
When we were talking.
So La'Trese, from Gene Carn, I mean, it seems that you started at the top, doing backing vocals for Gene Carn at 11. I mean, where else do you go?
I know, right? I know. I was blessed. I've been blessed in my career. I really have. I've worked with a lot of great people, and Jean has become such a close friend and a willing and open person to just teach. Like it's just in her, and she is just, she still sounds awesome. Like her voice. I mean,
because those girls are all still coming to the UK, you know, Jean Carn and Shirley, and they're still doing their things and a review like with Melba Moore, and they're still sounding good.
Great. Because good vocalists still sound good if they keep it together. Like, and Jean is on point, and she sounds awesome. I have never heard her not sound awesome.
Yeah.
And I have.
So what did you do after Jean? Where did you go from there? Who were the people you worked with?
Well, I've worked with Jean Carn. I've worked with I've sang with Kathy Sledge. I have wow, so many people. I actually did some stuff with Pink. I sang backgrounds on one of her songs that was on, which was the album? Well, anyway, I did some work with Pink on an album. She had a choir come in and do, actually in Philly. It was really awesome with Bill Jolly put together, who's also another Philly musician. And wow, I've done Kathy, I've done Jean, of course, Dexter. There have been so many people that have just influenced and been so open in my life and just allowed me to share the stage with them. So
your real repertoire was BB's.
Well, no, I did my own project. Actually, and my own project, and I did that as well. In like 2000, 2001, it came out. It did really well independently. It was self-titled La'Trese. That was when the writing really became my love.
Right.
Which was kind of cool to just do something on my own. It did really well. Actually got me just out there. I got to tour. I've traveled.
US tour, was it?
Oh, I've toured in the actually in Istanbul and Bahrain as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was pretty young. That was around, I was still a teenager, actually, 19.
Wow.
When I did that tour, and then I toured with my album as well. So I just really was able to share my music, which was what I really wanted. And I've been blessed to do that in my life and still do music. And I love a live band. There's nothing like live music. So
yes, I know. There's nothing like a live band, and there's nothing like seeing a live band play. I mean, of course, for you guys as musicians, it's great to be together. And the people I've spoken to have said, well, you know, I've been making music in lockdown, and because how you can make music with technology now, you can be in separate places, but they all say the same thing. It is not the same energy as being in the same room with your band members making music.
There's nothing like that. There's a feeling that happens with music. And there's a vibe that you get when it feels right, and it makes you move a certain way and sing a certain way. And I don't think you get that mechanically.
Yeah.
You just, you know.
But it's great to know that even in lockdown, all the musicians that I've spoken to have just said, well, you know what? I've used the time to still create and keep writing and keep creating music. And being an inspiration, because, you know, your fans really do look up to you. And you musicians have got, what should we say? How shall I word it? You're very lucky because of the very industry that you're in is uplifting. So, you know, we all look up to you guys, and just playing your music and hearing your music, it does lift our spirits when you're feeling miserable, especially when you can't go out, you can't do anything. So it's great to hear that you guys are still being inspirational and lifting our spirits with your creations.
I'm just happy to be working. I just was in the studio the other day, so just getting back in and starting to create again is just awesome. Like, honestly, it was just great to be in the studio, and it opened everything up. I came home and started writing instantly. So that's good. So I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm here. I feel it. So new things to come. So I'm really happy.
Well, of course, Dexter, we're looking forward to seeing you back in the UK as soon as possible. As soon as possible.
Well, I've already signed off, hopefully, for the Camp Soul.
Okay.
In August, and there's about 5 or 6 other places that have already reached out to me, but we really have to see what happens, you know, with the
absolutely
virus, you know, because I would not want folks to come together and it still be a issue. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably not going to. We'll see. You know, we'll see what. You know,
how things turn around. Because I mean, there are a lot of virtual concerts as well. So.
And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about doing that. And someone has talked to me about doing that. And we'll see what happens this spring, you know, and maybe I can do a couple of those.
Yeah, I know. If needs must. But really, we want to be in the audience screaming, Dexter, screaming, come on, let's have it. Come on. We want that energy, real life, like when you were at Jazz Caf, you know?
Yeah, that kind of surprised me when they were screaming Dexter, 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 Dexter. I was saying, okay, what's going on?
Is there a fire?
Yeah, those shows were wonderful there in London and Paris back in February. We got out of town in the nick of time.
Yeah, that's right, because I remember.
We left Paris either the 13th or the 14th of February. And after we had gotten on the train from London to go to Paris, you know, and we stayed in Paris about 4 days after the show because Judy, my wife Judy, and my daughter Jean wanted to get out and about, you know, and go to the Louvre and go to
see some of Paris, of course.
Or the Eiffel Tower, you know, and so we did all of that, but we could tell that we could tell before we even went to London. To do the shows over there, you know, we could tell that there was an issue, you know, so we were kind of, you know, concerned, you know, and of course.
And rightly so. Look where we are. You were right to be concerned.
Yeah. And actually, after that, I had about 6 or 7 other shows that I was supposed to do over here that I couldn't pull together. And because of what happened, once we got back home, that everything started shutting down, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, we are all lucky to be able to still have conversations like this and tell the story, you know? It really is. So tell me about the Christmas single, please.
Well, I wanted to
look at that big smile come up on her face as soon as I said the Christmas single.
We had La'Trese and I had worked together and did a couple of shows, and I was saying I got to write a song for that voice, you know. And I've always wanted to write a Christmas song, and I said, you know what, that would probably be a very good combination, a Christmas song, because of her warmth, you know what I'm saying, and her sonics. I thought would be perfect for a Christmas song, you know, and she's like the little girl's mom, you know, that says, Mom, what's Christmas all about? And she's telling her daughter, you know, and it's perfect.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So what's it called and where can we get it?
Well, it's called Christmas is Love, Dexter Wansel and La'Trese, Dexter Wansel featuring La'Trese.
Right.
And be found at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. It's on all of the digital, formats.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Did I send you a copy? Didn't I send you a copy?
You did indeed. And it will be attached to everything. Don't you worry. It will be attached to everything. Don't you worry. But on that note, I'd like to thank you both for taking time out of your day to have a chat with us here in the UK and let us know about what you're doing and how you're getting on. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing this single all over the place. I'll be doing my bit. Don't you worry.
Well, share the Christmas is love as much as you can, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank
you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.